Hi, I'm Claire from Inspiratrix Yoga. Today's class is all about connecting to a sense of wind or air or space within. Props-wise, something like a cushion would be really quite helpful for some of the poses we're going to do. And there's another point where we'll do one pose where if you've got something like a chair nearby or a bed, that would be really helpful for one of the poses we're going to do. Enjoy the class, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube, click the subscribe button and the bell icon, and that will let you know every time I do a new video. For today, let's work with an exploration of the element of air. So firstly, centering that on the breath. So as you rest here and breathe, feel the air moving in and out. How you're in a relationship to air all the time. And when you breathe deeply, you're moving a greater volume of air in and out. And then let's also work with the sense of connecting to that element of air in the practice as well. So a sense of lightness, a sense of movability, connecting to the parts of us that are sort of light and airy rather than the parts of us that are kind of heavy and immobile. Let's do 3 sighing breaths, just to be with that sense of air. So inhale through the nose, then sigh out through the mouth. Just feeling air. 2 more. Then we'll come into a lying down twist. So on the back, take your arms, stretch them out to the sides, have the knees bent, feet on the floor, and explore rocking your knees from side to side, but in a way that feels quite light. Not pushing or straining, just connecting to a sense of flow. Just doing this twist in a way that feels easeful, not effortful. Just easing from side to side with your knees in a way that feels good for you. And though, most of the body really is solid or liquid. Actually, when you get into chemistry, chemistry sort of says that actually atoms are mostly space. So that even though actually it's easiest to identify with the body as being a solid and liquid thing, we've also got a lot of space inside. Now bring your knees closer to the chest and hold onto the knees. And rock from side to side, just pulling the knees a bit closer to the chest and massaging the lower back on the floor. But doing this in a way that feels easeful. Almost like you're blowing in the breeze. Okay, roll onto your side in an easeful way and then sit up from your side in a way that doesn't feel too effortful. Let's do some seated Seated work in seated positions now. Let's come into a half knee pile with your right leg straight and left leg crossed over the top. Sit on a block or cushion if that feels good to you. And now you're upright. Come into your breath again. Close your eyes and notice the air coming and going. Almost imagining your breath washing through all the spaces in your atoms. There are subtle differences between wind and air and space. Some people see them as different elements, but just connecting to whichever of those feels nice for you right now. Wind or air or space. And then we'll come into a side bend. Let's take the left hand down on the floor. Inhale and reach the right arm up. Exhale, soften the left shoulder down. Continuing to breathe in a way that helps you connect to air. Maybe a sense of spaciousness within. Giving yourself permission to change anything about any pose that you want, if it feels better. Neck release. Bring the right arm down. So the hand is kind of near the floor, but not quite on the floor. And then relax your left ear towards the left shoulder. Breathe in a way that brings a sense of space and lightness to the muscles on the side of your neck. Relaxing your lower jaw too. Imagining a little more space coming in for your neck. And then we'll come into a forward bend. Just let your head relax forwards and walk your hands forward onto the legs or under the floor or maybe onto the foot. Just coming into a forward bend now. Breathing in a spacious way. Staying in the forward bend and really feeling your breath. Exploring whether it's possible to breathe deeply, but in a way that doesn't feel labored, like in a way that feels quite light. There's like a powerfulness to the breath and to deep breath. But you can also make it easeful. Walk your hands in towards your hips and then change your legs over the other way. Coming into half knee pile on the other side. So we did a side bend first. Take the right hand out to the side. Inhale, lift left arm up. Exhale, leaning into side bend as much or as little as feels good right now. Like if you go really far, it can get scrunchy. So maybe less, perhaps less scrunch, more space. Play with outwardly rotating the top arm. So turning the hand so the palm is facing downwards. And doing the same with that left shoulder. So just moving the left shoulder blade down, out to the side and forwards. Or playing with what the shoulder blade and arm are doing to feel for having the arm in a position that feels more spacious for you. Neck release. Adjust the position of your left arm now. So it's out to the side at a lower angle. And then focus on relaxing your right ear towards the right shoulder. Breathing a sense of air, a sense of space for these tight places in the neck or wherever you feel this one. Like, imagine a little more space there. Imagine the wind blowing through the spaces in your atoms and the spaces between the atoms. Then relax your head forwards and walk your hands forwards towards your leg or on the floor or maybe on the foot. Coming into a seated forward bend here. Letting your head relax forwards. And continuing to play with the sense of the wind of your breath washing through you. That sense of your breath being something that happens in the lungs, but also happens beyond the lungs as well. Whether that's a sense of other parts of your body moving or just like a sense of the whole bubble around you, how that can be cleansed and recharged and be in interaction with the breath. Shoulders relaxed here, just let the shoulders go. Okay, sit up from there. Uncross your legs. And move in a way that feels, it's going to give yourself a wobble in a way that feels like your structure is less solid, you know, just like more of a liquid or maybe more of a gas, like just playing with letting go of solidity. However you want to move. Kind of almost like a floppy, like quite floppy maybe. Good. I want to do some somatic yoga cat stretches next. So lie on your back with the knees bent. To play with these with a sense of air. Maybe with a sense of wind. So be on the back with the knees bent, feet on the floor, arms resting comfortably next to your hips. We'll focus on the lower back first. So on the inhale, make more arch in the lower back. Increase the space between the lower back and the floor, keeping the hips and shoulders on the floor. On the exhale, very slowly let go that action. As you do that, the lower back will drop down, but you're not pushing the lower back down. Good, so inhale, make an arch in the lower back. Notice the contraction there. Exhale, releasing that work. Continue in that pattern. Staying with your breath, this sense of wind or air. Next, we'll do cat stretch 4. So take your right hand behind your head. Rest the head in your hand. And then we'll be lifting up the head and the right elbow and the left knee, and then bringing them back down. Let me talk you into that with some breath though. So inhale and do the arch thing in your lower back. Increase the curve of the lower back like you just did. On the exhale, release that. Lift the head up off the floor, lift the left foot up off the floor. So your left knee and right elbow moving in the direction of each other. They're not going to reach each other though, that's fine. Inhale, very slowly come out of that, bringing the foot and the head down to the floor at the same time. Exhale and let the right elbow relax too. So that's the sequence. Let's do a few more on the same side. Inhale, make the arch in the lower back. Exhale, relax your lower back. Lift the head, lift the left foot up, shortening across the belly. Inhale, slowly return back down. Exhale, relaxing. Do that sequence 2 more times. Breathing in an easeful way. Moving in an easeful way. Pausing after the round you're on. And let's do the other side. So bringing the left hand behind the head. And now you'll be moving the right leg. So inhale, bringing the arch to the lower back. Exhale, releasing the arch in the lower back. Lift the head, lift the right foot up. Knee stays bent. Inhale, slowly bring the head down and the foot down. Can you bring them both down at the same time? Exhaling and relaxing. Do that 3 more times, really nice and slowly, in a really leisurely way. Allowing yourself to feel a sense of air, a sense of space inside. Feeling the parts of you that are enjoying this movement. Once you've done 3 rounds, then just pausing in an easeful position. Breathing in a way where like the breath is washing through you. Helping you to connect to the parts of you that aren't so solid. roll onto your hands and knees now. Let's do a downward facing dog, just stretching into the back of each leg. So coming up into like a normal downward dog, but then playing with bringing some movement by bending one leg and straightening the other, and then switching around. Doing this in a way that feels easeful. Not forcing or pushing into things in a kind of slammy or solid way, like cultivating just a sense of movement and a sense of moving with ease. Stretching out a little bit in downward facing dog. Okay, now let's come up to standing. So walk your feet towards your hands. And then from there, you should be able to stand up. All right, fantastic. I want to do some slow sun salutations now. Take a cushion or a blanket, something like that, to give yourself some cushioning for your knee. Have a cushion or something nearby. Stand at one of the short ends of your mat. And stand in mountain pose with your hands in prayer position. Closing your eyes and connecting to your deep, slow breath. Feeling your breath moving through you. Like the wind blowing through you. Then we'll come into some suns. Staying connected to that sense of air or wind. So inhale, bring your arms forwards. Let them be kind of light and floaty as they come forwards. Exhale, come into a forward bend. Hinge from your hips. Let your arms be heavy, easing down into a forward bend, just as far as feels comfortable for you. Lunge. Inhale, step the left leg back. Bring the knee down to the floor and put a soft thing underneath the knee if that feels helpful to your knee. Then let's take the hands onto the hips, come into a lunge and let's stay here for a few breaths. Staying with your deep breaths, but seeking a sense of ease in your breath. A sense of softening through the whole body so that the breath can be really effortless, but also potentially quite deep as well. Pressing down a little into the front of the left shin, lifting the chest up. Okay, let's move on. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, float the arms down. And then set yourself up into plank. Step your right leg back. Curl your toes under and come into plank. Inhale here in plank. Feel for making that not too effortful. Exhale, lower the knees down. Connect to your core and lower forwards and down onto your belly. Take the hands a little in front of your shoulders. Inhale up into a cobra. Lifting your chest and shoulders away from the floor. Just let's stay here for a few breaths. And if this feels uncomfortable in your lower back, I want you to come lower down and press the fronts of your thighs down into the mat. Press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Feeling if you can make this not too effortful. Ideally with your elbows up off the floor. Next time you exhale, ease down to the floor and make your way into downward facing dog. Stretching your hips up and back, relaxing your neck. Breathing easefully. Lunge with the left leg forwards. Step your left foot forward, bring your right knee down to the floor, and put something soft underneath the right knee if that feels helpful right now. Hanging out in a normal lunge, just with the hands on the hips, chest lifted slightly. Connecting to the airy quality of your breath. But still staying within your physical body and within the space around you, like not flying off into the next field. Coming back to your deep breath all the time. Feeling whether that can be a light experience, like an easy experience. Inhale and float the arms forward. Exhale, float the arms down. Step your right foot forward into forward bend. Inhale and uncurl slowly up to standing. Float the arms forwards. Exhale, hands into prayer position. I'm going to talk you through another slow round of suns. Inhale, float the arms forwards. Making that easy. Kind of, if there's a point where it stops being easy, stop before that point. Exhale into a forward bend. Let the neck relax too. Lunge, inhale, right leg comes back, knee comes down to the floor, putting something soft underneath it if you need to. And let's also float the arms up. Notice if the shoulders start to sort of scrunch or get heavy here. Bring the arms lower down if that feels like you've got more space internally. Being a vessel for your breath as you hang out here in lunge. Bringing the arms down if that feels better for you. But breathing, all the breath. Okay, relax the arms down and then make your way into plank. So hands come down to the floor, the front foot steps back. Take a leisurely inhale in plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the floor, bringing the knees down, if that feels helpful. Coming down all the way onto your belly. Okay, inhale into a cobra, pulling the chest forwards and up, and moving your elbows in towards the waist. Okay, ease down to the floor and then into downward facing dog. So lunge on the other side. Inhale and step the right foot forwards. Have the left knee down on the mat or on a cushion, something like that. And then reach the arms up if that feels good right now. But if kind of reaching the arms up takes you to a place of constriction and hardness, feel for softening out of that so you have more space for breath and just more space to cultivate this sense of internal space. Just through choosing. Just you choosing to tune into the aspect of you that is air, that is wind. The aspect of you that isn't super solid. I mean, I love solids and I love the earth. There's nothing wrong with being solids or liquids, but just for today, exploring this sense of being more of a gas. Okay, moving into forward bend now. Relax your arms down, step forwards into a forward bend. Now, let's come out of this really slowly. So just be in your forward bend with the knees bent, head and neck super relaxed. And then I want you to come out of it in a really slow, uncurling roll. So keeping the knees bent for that. Just starting to ease up really slowly, uncurling up, keeping the head relaxed as you slowly stack yourself back up. And at the end, lifting the arms up in a really floaty way. Exhale, hands come back into prayer position. Good. Find yourself a cushion or a block. Let's do some hip tilts. Put the cushion or block in between your thighs. Ideally, have your feet parallel, unless your legs are at a really strange angle. That's quite normal to have your legs at a non-strange angle, but if you can, bring the feet parallel. Great. So let's start this with some big movements, and we'll play with making the movements bigger and smaller. Inhale, bend the knees a lot, send the hips back. So you're kind of coming into a bit of a squat. Exhale, straightening the legs, straightening up. Inhale, bend the knees, send the hips back, squeeze the cushion. Exhale, straightening up with the legs. Keep going with this movement. Feeling for finding fluidity. So it's almost like you can sort of end up going in a circle or a bit like a water wheel with the pelvis. Slightly squeezing your cushion and working with the feet active too. But also kind of also continuing to cultivate this sense of ease and lightness. Finish off with that. And come into stillness for a moment. Keep the cushion where it is, but just come to stillness. Continuing to breathe in a way that feels fluid and feels light. And then I want you to do that movement again, but like in a mini way. So inhale, stick the butt back a little bit. Exhale, straightening the legs a little bit. So now just doing the same movement, but just in a really dialed down version. So it's mostly now about the pelvic tilt. There's a bit of pelvic tilt going on. And making that quite simple, quite without effort. Or not making it more effort than it needs to be. There being an economy of effort about it. Just playing with that a little longer. And then let go of that movement, remove your cushion. And for this next pose, ideally, you want something like a chair or a sofa or a bed that you can put one foot on. So you could do it with something slightly lower than this chair, ideally, but just whatever you've got in your room. Let's do this, say, with the left foot on the floor and the right foot on the chair. Because I want to do a bit of a moving twist, but it works quite well from this supported standing position. Great. So take your left hand onto your right knee, and then we'll be moving in and out of this twist. So start by inhaling and sweeping your right arm to the side, coming into the twist. Then exhale. Turning forwards towards your chair, bringing the hand down, maybe bring the hand to rest on the other one. Inhale, turning to the right, taking the right hand out to the side, feeling for getting space across the arm and across the chest, but also being in like a full twist here. Exhale, coming back, detwisting. And then play with that a few more times. Just at a pace that feels good for you. Moving in a way that feels like it's helping you create space. So now some of you are a little bit like leaned forwards onto the thing. See if you can set yourself up with the hips like underneath, with the left foot underneath the hips, so kind of not going so forwards. Yeah, could you bring your left foot underneath the hip? All right, do one more here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So right foot on the floor, left foot on the chair or whatever you're using today. Okay, be aware of like if you're leaning forwards like this, I want you to take the hips back, or maybe you need to step the right foot closer to your bed or your chair or whatever. Okay, take the right hand onto the left leg. Inhale and take your left arm out to the side, moving into the twist. Exhale, coming out of the twist, facing towards the chair. Keeping the legs quite stable, but allowing the ribs to twist, the torso to twist, finding space across the chest. Playing with this movement. Just do just one more. Great. Once you've done that, you'll use the chair or bed or whatever you've got just to do a version of downward facing dog with the hands on a thing. So placing your hands on the chair or the bed or whatever you're using. I then want you to walk your feet back as far as you can. Well, not quite as far as you can, because I want your ankles to be underneath your hips. Great. Inhale into your shoulders. Exhale, widen the shoulder blades. Slide the shoulder blades towards your armpits, slightly externally rotating around the arm area, around the arms. And continuing to breathe in a way that feels like it brings space. You can also stretch the hips back here. Yeah, stretch your hips away from the hands. If your knees are super locked, soften them a bit. Easeful breaths. Then walk your feet towards the chair or the bed, stand up, and then make your way down onto the floor into a seated position. But I want to do a little bit more movement with like the chest and the shoulders, feeling for moving in a way that helps to create more space there. So inhale and clasp the hands together. Exhale, reach the inside of the hands away. Inhale and float the arms up just as far as feels comfortable. Might not be very far, that's okay. Exhale. Let the arms ease down. So playing with lifting and lowering the arms with your breath. Playing with doing that in a low effort way. Just moving at a rate that feels good for you and your breath. Finish off after that round. And let's do a couple of rounds of shoulder shrugs here. So just kind of getting the shoulder blades to move a little bit more. Let's do this in a way that's all about the slow release. So big breath into your upper back. Pause, take the shoulders up and back and squeeze the top of your shoulder blades together. Exhale, very slowly release that, allowing the shoulder blades to drop down if that comes naturally. Just a really slow release on the exhale. Massive breath in. Ease the mid parts of the shoulder blades in towards each other. Squeeze. Then exhale, very slow release there. Very slowly releasing that action. Letting the muscles around that area lengthen. Huge breath in. Squeeze your elbows in towards each other. Squeeze the lower edges of the shoulder blades towards each other. Squeeze. Then exhale and very slowly release all that. Relaxing the arms too, just releasing everything with the exhale. Let's do another round of the shoulder shrugs in that way. Send lots of breath to your upper back. Pause, take shoulders up and back. Squeeze the top of the shoulder blades. Squeeze. Exhale, very slowly release whatever you're doing there right now. Really slow release and let go. Inhale, sending the breath to your shoulder blades. Squeeze the mid-shoulder blades together. Feel the solidity there. As you exhale, feel for dissolving that solidity, letting go. Allowing there to be more space, more air. Send lots of breath to your shoulder blades. Inhale. Now squeeze the elbows in, squeeze the lower shoulder blades together. Feel that. On the exhale, slowly release all of that work. Releasing the arms as well. Good. One more thing. Let's come into cat-cow. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath the hips. On an inhale, arch your back. So tilt the tailbone up, let the belly drop down, lift the chin a little. On the exhale, round your back. Tilting tailbone down, pushing the mid back up, relaxing the head forwards. And then continue to play with this movement of arching and then rounding. As if it were the wind that was creating the movement. Like a gentle wind moving the laundry on a washing line. Continuing with cat-cow in an easeful way. Just allowing your spine to move, but in a way that's really simple, really easeful. Then come into child's pose, if you like child's pose. If you don't like child's pose, do like the opposite, where you're lying on the back and bringing the knees into the chest. So child's pose is like this, either with the hands in front or the arms next to the legs. Or you could do this lying on the back, bringing the knees into the chest like you did at the start of the class. Breathing in a way that helps you to feel the space inside. And then come out of child's pose and make your way into Shavasana. So setting yourself up probably on your back, or you could be in a different resting position if that works better for you. Lying down on the floor, using any props you want to use. Setting yourself up in a place of rest and then continuing to allow your breath to move through you. Without any effort at all. It's like trusting the wind to blow. Trusting your breath to be. With a sense of the wind or the air or space inside of you. And resting in that. Notice your sense of yourself as someone who has qualities of air or wind or space as part of you. Whether that feels easy to identify with or whether that feels challenging to connect to. If you want to stay resting on the floor, feel free to stay in Shavasana for longer. If you know that you want to get up and do whatever you want to do next, then start to move and perhaps deepen your breath. Feeling the wind of your breath. And then bend your knees before you roll onto one side and sit up from the side. Thank you so much for joining me on my mat for this class today and exploring that sense of connecting to the parts of us that aren't solid or aren't liquid, but are more airy or spacey or windy. I hope you can come and do a class with me again another time. On my YouTube channel, I have the odd free class, and then I have lots of other classes in my virtual yoga vault, which is a subscriber service, but I'll put details of that below. So come and do a class with me sometime in the virtual vault, or one of my live Zoom classes. I do several of those a week as well. Have a great day.